My fellow Africans, today we stand at a critical crossroads, a crossroads where the future of our continent is being shaped by choices, struggles, and decisions that will echo through history. The world has been watching, and so have we. I stand before you not as a dictator, but as a leader who has taken responsibility when no one else would. Burkina Faso, my country, is a nation that has been battered by terrorism, corruption, and instability. We've been left to fend for ourselves, and the powers that claim to help us have only served their own interests, ignoring the suffering of the people. It's easy to label someone who takes power through unconventional means as a dictator, but that is a shallow way of viewing the situation. What does it mean to be a dictator? Does it mean acting in the interest of the people, or does it mean serving the status quo and watching our people perish in silence? I chose to act because our people were dying, our sovereignty was being stripped away, and our future was being sold. My actions, the coup that took place in September 2022, were not for personal power, they were for the survival of our people. Burkina Faso's sovereignty has been undermined time and again, and we could no longer sit idle while external forces dictated our fate. France, the former colonial power, was not here to help us, it was here to control us. The so-called global powers, who have long claimed to protect us, were nowhere when we needed them most. We were abandoned. I do not take pride in the loss of life, but I do take pride in making the difficult decision to take the reins and guide our country toward a path of security and self-determination. When you look at my actions, you must ask yourselves, what was the alternative? To let the terrorists continue to destroy everything we hold dear, to let foreign interests continue to exploit our resources, our land, and our people. My mission is clear: to restore peace, to defend our sovereignty, and to give our people the dignity they deserve. But in doing so, I have been called a dictator. You say dictatorship, I say leadership. I am not here to please foreign powers or the critics who sit in comfortable offices, far away from the pain and suffering of the people. I am here to defend the people of Burkina Faso, and to ensure that their voices are heard, not drowned out by foreign interests. It is easy for the world to criticize from the outside. It is easy for the world to call me a dictator when they don't know the weight of the decisions I make daily. My fight is not for power. My fight is for the survival of Burkina Faso, for the survival of the African continent. We cannot continue to live in the shadow of foreign powers. We cannot continue to be pawns in someone else's game. This is not a revolution born of ego. It is a revolution born of necessity. A revolution for Africa's dignity, a revolution for Africa's future. We must take our destiny into our own hands, and if that means making tough decisions, if that means standing up to the forces that have enslaved us for centuries, then so be it. I ask you to see the truth. I am not here to destroy. I am here to rebuild. I am here to give us the chance to thrive as a free and sovereign nation. And if that makes me a hero in the eyes of my people, then I will wear that title with honor. But if the world chooses to label me as a dictator because I dare to defend the interests of my people, then I will accept that as well. History will be the judge. It will be the people of Burkina Faso and Africa who will ultimately decide whether my actions were the actions of a true leader or the actions of a dictator. I do not fear history, for I know that I acted with courage and with conviction. I acted to protect my people and to secure a future that will no longer be dictated by foreign powers or internal chaos. This is not just my fight. This is Africa's fight. Together we will rise. Together we will take control of our own destiny. In the heart of Africa, there is a deep, unshakable desire for freedom, for sovereignty, and for the ability to determine our own fate. For too long, countries like Burkina Faso and many across the continent have found themselves caught in a web of foreign influence, intervention, and exploitation. The history of Africa is a history of struggle, first against colonization and now against neocolonialism. We have fought for our independence once, but the battle for true sovereignty is far from over. Burkina Faso has always been a nation that values its independence. We have a proud history of resistance and resilience, but today we face new challenges. We are not just battling external forces in the form of terrorism and armed groups. We are battling a more insidious force, the subtle yet powerful presence of foreign powers that continue to manipulate our affairs under the guise of aid, peacekeeping, and partnership. These powers seek to control our resources, shape our policies, and ultimately, decide the future of our people. This is a future that is not theirs to dictate, it is ours to shape. The question I pose to the world and to every African is simple: why is it that in the 21st century, we continue to allow foreign nations to control the destiny of our people? Why do we still allow ourselves to be pawns in games played by foreign powers who are more interested in exploiting our resources and maintaining their economic and political influence than in the welfare of our people? This is not just a question for Burkina Faso, it is a question for all of Africa. Burkina Faso has suffered enough at the hands of foreign powers, especially the former colonial powers, who still exert a significant amount of influence over our affairs. The French, in particular, have been a presence in Africa for centuries, and their continued involvement in our politics is a reminder of the colonial past that many African nations are still trying to escape. Despite our independence, they have continued to wield power over our economy, our military, and even our foreign policy. It is time we break free from these chains. We cannot move forward while constantly looking behind, shackled by the weight of historical and modern-day colonialism. We as a nation have made the conscious decision to no longer be beholden to foreign powers. Our sovereignty is non-negotiable. We will not allow foreign nations to dictate how we run our country, how we protect our borders, or how we manage our natural resources. We are a sovereign nation, and we have every right to decide our own future without the interference of others. We do not need permission from anyone to make decisions that are in the best interests of the people of Burkina Faso. It is crucial for the world to understand that true sovereignty means self-determination. It means that we as a people should have the power to make decisions about our own governance, economy, and future. We cannot allow foreign countries to intervene in our internal matters under the guise of offering assistance or bringing peace. Their presence has often done more harm than good. The presence of foreign troops and advisors has failed to bring lasting peace to Burkina Faso or to the broader Sahel region. Instead, it has only perpetuated instability, with outside forces often pursuing their own interests at the expense of the local population. Our resources, our gold, our land, our labor have been exploited for far too long by foreign corporations and governments who profit from our wealth, while the people remain impoverished. This is not a situation we are willing to accept any longer. Our resources belong to us, and we will control them. It is time that the people of Burkina Faso, and indeed all Africans, benefit from the wealth that their land provides, rather than having it siphoned off to foreign countries. Our people are not children who need guidance or direction from foreign powers. We are not weak or incapable of standing on our own. In fact, we have the strength, the courage, and the intelligence to lead ourselves. But for far too long, we have been taught to believe that we need external help to succeed. We have been led to believe that we are incapable of running our own affairs. This is a lie that we must reject. The African people have a rich history of self-governance, innovation, and leadership. Our ancestors fought for our freedom, and we will continue that fight today by taking control of our destiny. The time for change is now. We will no longer allow foreign powers to manipulate us. We will no longer sit idly by while our future is determined by others. We are capable of building our own institutions, creating our own policies, and shaping a future that reflects the needs and desires of our people. We will stand firm in defense of our sovereignty, and we will protect our independence at all costs. We will not be intimidated by threats, sanctions, or political pressure. Our sovereignty is our birthright, and we will fight for it as fiercely as our ancestors fought for it. The message I send today is clear. We are no longer the playthings of foreign powers. Our sovereignty will no longer be compromised. We will no longer allow foreign governments to dictate our actions, to control our economy, or to manipulate our politics. We will take charge of our future, and we will build a Burkina Faso that is strong, independent, and free from foreign interference. As we move forward, we ask the world to respect our decision. We ask that foreign nations stop treating us as subjects and start treating us as equals. We are not asking for charity, and we are not asking for permission. We are asserting our right to self-determination, and we will not allow anyone to stand in the way of that. The road ahead will not be easy. There will be challenges both from within and from without. But we are ready, we are united in our resolve, and we are committed to protecting our sovereignty, our resources, and our people. This is the beginning of a new chapter in the history of Burkina Faso and in the history of Africa. We will no longer allow anyone to determine our future. The future is ours, and we will build it with our own hands. Our nation, Burkina Faso, has been under siege for far too long. The relentless attacks by jihadist groups have devastated our land, torn apart our communities, and brought suffering to the people who have always called this place home. Every day we are faced with the brutal reality of violence, fear, and uncertainty. These groups, whose actions are rooted in extremism, have made it their mission to destroy the peace we once knew. And while they spread terror, we have seen time and again that the international community has been slow, ineffective, or unwilling to act in a meaningful way to address the crisis. For us, the people of Burkina Faso, this cannot continue. We can no longer wait for the world to come to our aid. We must take matters into our own hands. As the leader of this country, it is my responsibility to protect the people of Burkina Faso. I did not come into power to watch helplessly as our citizens are killed, our villages are destroyed, and our country is torn apart. I came into power to act. It is not just a duty, it is an obligation, and I will not shy away from it. Our people, who have already endured so much, deserve the chance to live in peace, to feel safe in their homes, and to walk the streets without fear of violence. We will not allow terror to rule our land any longer. The time for inaction is over. Burkina Faso, like many of its neighbors in the Sahel, has been caught in a vicious cycle of violence that has stretched on for years. These jihadist groups, with their foreign-backed ideologies and relentless thirst for destruction, have taken advantage of weak governance and instability. They have pushed into rural areas, targeting civilians, government forces, and anyone who dares to resist their ideology of hate and violence. The result is an escalating crisis that has displaced millions and turned vast swathes of our country into no-go zones. The impact on our people is incalculable. Families have been torn apart, livelihoods destroyed, and whole communities erased from the map. It is a crisis that has left our nation broken, but not defeated. While we have heard promises of support from the international community, we have seen little action to address the root causes of the conflict or to provide meaningful assistance on the ground. We have been told time and again that foreign forces will help us, but those forces often fail to live up to their promises, leaving us to fend for ourselves. And in many cases, their presence only seems to aggravate the situation, as foreign intervention often comes with its own set of problems, misunderstandings, miscommunications, and agendas that do not align with our own. The international community has left us to face this crisis largely on our own, and it is clear that we cannot afford to wait any longer. Our response must be swift, resolute, and uncompromising. We cannot rely on external forces to solve our problems. The future of Burkina Faso rests in the hands of Burkinabe people, and we will defend our land, our families, and our dignity. We are not powerless. We have the strength, the resolve, and the unity to stand up to these extremists and to take back control of our country. Our response will not be driven by vengeance, but by a desire for justice, security, and peace. We will not allow these extremists to tear apart the fabric of our society. We will fight to protect every inch of Burkina Faso, and we will fight to ensure that no more lives are lost in senseless violence. But defending our nation is not just about military strength. It is about reclaiming the trust of our people. We need to restore the sense of safety and stability that has been lost. Our security forces, while brave and determined, have been overwhelmed by the scale of the threat. That is why it is essential to not only bolster our military capabilities, but also to strengthen the resolve of our communities, to build resilience, and to give our citizens the tools they need to protect themselves. Our response must be a whole-of-society effort, uniting the people, the security forces, and the government in a collective effort to drive out the threat and rebuild our country. We cannot afford to let division or fear weaken us. Extremism thrives in environments of fear and division, and we must resist the temptation to turn on each other. We are one people, and we must stand united. This is a fight not just for survival, but for the future of Burkina Faso. We must show the world that we will not be intimidated by terrorists. We will not bow to fear, and we will not allow our future to be defined by violence. The international community must also recognize that their failure to act effectively has left us with few options. The power to change the trajectory of this conflict lies with us, but we cannot do it alone. We are open to cooperation and assistance from those who genuinely seek to help us. However, that help must come on our terms, respecting our sovereignty and our right to make decisions that are in the best interests of our people. No longer will we accept being treated as a pawn in someone else's game. We want partners who respect our sovereignty and work with us to find lasting solutions that address the root causes of this conflict: poverty, extremism, and the failure of governance. We will also pursue a path of regional cooperation. The Sahel region is facing an existential crisis, and the challenges we face cannot be solved in isolation. Burkina Faso's security is interconnected with the security of our neighbors. We must build stronger ties with our regional partners, share intelligence, and coordinate our military efforts to combat the growing threat of extremism. The future of the Sahel lies in our collective hands, and we must work together to secure a peaceful and prosperous future for our people. I call on all Burkinabe citizens to stand firm and to support our efforts to restore peace and security to our nation. This is our fight, and together we will win it. We are not defined by the violence we face, but by our response to it. We will rise above the chaos and rebuild our country. Our children deserve a future free from terror. Our elders deserve to live in peace. We, the people of Burkina Faso, will ensure that we do not let terrorism dictate our destiny. As your leader, I will do whatever it takes to protect you and to ensure that our country is restored to peace. Our response will be fierce, but it will also be just. We will defend Burkina Faso, and we will rebuild it stronger than ever before. When I took the responsibility to lead Burkina Faso, I did not do so out of ambition or desire for personal power. The weight of leadership is not one that should be taken lightly, especially in a country that has endured so much suffering. My every decision, every action is driven by one guiding principle: the needs of the Burkinabe people. We have been through hardships, endured losses, and faced challenges that no people should have to bear. But through it all, I have seen the resilience, the strength, and the determination of our people. I have seen the fire in their eyes, the hope they still cling to despite everything. It is for them, for their safety, dignity, and future, that I stand before you today, willing to do whatever it takes to bring about change and restore peace to our land. We have suffered too long. The violence, the insecurity, the displacement, these are realities that have become all too common in Burkina Faso. Our people have seen their homes burned, their families torn apart, and their futures left uncertain. The international community has failed to act in any meaningful way to help alleviate our suffering. We were abandoned at our time of greatest need, left to deal with the threat of terrorism and extremism on our own. But I did not come into power to stand idly by. I came into power to act on behalf of the people who have trusted me, to ensure that they no longer have to live in fear, to restore their dignity, and to protect their future. The needs of the people must always come first. Every decision I make is grounded in the desire to secure a better life for the Burkinabe people. Our security forces, our military, our government, they exist not for their own benefit, but to serve the people. We are here to protect lives, not to gain power or resources for ourselves. We cannot allow personal interests or ambitions to cloud our judgment when the lives of millions of people are at stake. The time for selfishness and self-interest is over. Now is the time for us to come together as one people, united in the pursuit of peace and stability. It is crucial that we prioritize the needs of our people above all else. For far too long, we have been told that outside forces, foreign powers, or external assistance will bring the solutions to our problems. But we have learned that this is not the case. The international community, while offering words of support, has often failed to provide the real, tangible assistance we need. We cannot afford to wait any longer for foreign solutions that may never come. Our future cannot be left in the hands of others. It is our responsibility, as a nation, to take charge of our own destiny and protect our own people. The challenges we face are immense, but they are not insurmountable. The resilience of the Burkinabe people is unmatched. Our farmers, our youth, our elders, All have shown incredible strength in the face of adversity. They are the backbone of our nation, and it is their well-being that must be our priority. Security is essential, but so too is the rebuilding of our economy, our social fabric, and our institutions. We cannot focus solely on military solutions while neglecting the needs of our people. We must rebuild not just our security, but also our economy, our healthcare systems, our education, and our infrastructure. We must provide jobs for our youth, opportunities for our farmers, and safety for our families. Every Burkina citizen deserves a future where they can thrive, where they can live without fear, and where they can pursue their dreams with hope in their hearts. As we fight to restore peace and stability, we must remember that the people are the heart of this nation. The actions we take, the policies we implement, and the decisions we make must always be done with their well-being in mind. I will not allow power to be used for personal gain, for the benefit of a select few, or for the benefit of foreign interests. Power, when used properly, must be a tool for the betterment of the people. This is the philosophy that guides me as your leader. In the coming months and years as we rebuild our country, we must ensure that the people's voices are heard. It is not enough for the government to act on its own. We must engage with the people, listen to their concerns, and understand their needs. Their input is invaluable in shaping the future of Burkina Faso. We must ensure that every voice, whether from the urban centers or the rural villages, is taken into account. This is not a time for division or exclusion. We must build a future where every Burkina citizen is valued, where their dignity is upheld, and where they have the opportunity to live a life of peace, security, and prosperity. At the same time, we must confront the very forces that have disrupted our lives. The threat of terrorism and extremism is real, and it will not simply go away on its own. We cannot wait for others to come to our rescue. We must take decisive action to secure our borders, protect our communities, and eliminate the threat that these groups pose to our way of life. But as we do so, we must ensure that our actions do not come at the expense of the people we are trying to protect. We must act with restraint, with compassion, and with respect for human rights. Our response to terrorism must be measured and effective, but it must also be just. The Burkinabe people are not just victims of violence, they are survivors, they are fighters, they have faced hardships that most could never imagine, yet they continue to endure. It is for them that I fight. It is for them that I lead. Every decision I make, every step I take, is driven by a singular goal to ensure that the Burkinabe people have a future they can look forward to, a future where they can live in peace, where they can raise their families in safety, and where they can pursue their dreams without fear. The people of Burkina Faso deserve better, and it is my mission to give them better. It is my duty to prioritize their safety, their dignity, and their future above all else. Together, we will rebuild our nation. Together, we will restore peace and stability. And together, we will create a future where every Burkinabe citizen can thrive. This is the promise I make to you, and this is the commitment I will uphold every day I serve as your leader. For centuries, Africa has been subjected to the devastating forces of colonialism. Our lands were divided without regard for the people who lived on them, our resources plundered to fuel the empires of foreign powers, and our identities stripped away. These were the scars of colonization that, even after formal independence, continued to affect our continent. The chains of colonialism did not disappear with the signing of treaties or the raising of flags. They merely morphed into a different form, a more insidious one. This is what we now call neocolonialism, an invisible yet equally destructive force that continues to bind many African nations to foreign powers. Neocolonialism is not just about control over land, it is about control over our decisions, our resources, and ultimately, our sovereignty. Burkina Faso, like many other African nations, has been subjected to the false promises of foreign aid, with the world's most powerful nations claiming to offer support while, in reality, seeking only to extract what they can from us. These nations arrive on our soil under the guise of cooperation, development, and humanitarian aid, but they leave us in debt, our resources exhausted, and our people subjugated. Their companies come to exploit our land, to extract our minerals, our gold, our resources, without regard for the people who live here. They come to weaken our sovereignty and to maintain control over our destiny, under the pretext of helping us. This is a lie, a cycle we must break. Our people have been promised progress and prosperity in exchange for our submission to foreign powers, but what have we truly gained? We remain dependent, and often in the hands of the same powers that once colonized us. They tell us what we should think, what we should value, and how we should govern ourselves. This is not freedom. True independence is not just about having a flag and a government. It is about having the power to make decisions for ourselves without interference from those who do not have our best interests at heart. This is the fight I have chosen to take on. I refuse to allow Burkina Faso to be a pawn in someone else's game. Our country, our resources, and our future are not for sale. We will no longer tolerate foreign powers coming in under the guise of aid or partnership only to exploit our land and people. We are not their property to be manipulated or controlled. We will no longer allow ourselves to be dictated to by those who have no understanding of the realities we face or the dreams we hold for our future. We cannot break free from colonialism if we continue to allow foreign powers to dictate the terms of our development. We cannot allow them to control the flow of our resources, to decide how we should grow, or to enforce their will through loans that keep us in debt and dependent. Burkina Faso will stand tall and make its own decisions. We will determine our own policies, control our own economy, and chart our own course. Our sovereignty is not negotiable, and it will not be compromised. We will not allow anyone to make decisions about our land, our resources, or our future that does not serve the best interests of our people. The chains of neocolonialism extend beyond the borders of Burkina Faso and reach deep into the heart of Africa. We are not alone in this struggle. Many of our neighbors face the same exploitation and control. African nations must stand together in rejecting foreign domination and in claiming our place in the world as sovereign nations. We must unite, not just in words but in action, to ensure that our continent is no longer a playground for foreign powers to exploit for their benefit. Our land, our people, and our resources belong to us. We will not allow anyone to take them from us. This is not a call for isolation. It is a call for true independence. We must engage with the world, but we must do so on our own terms. Africa has a rich history of resilience, of self-determination, and of fighting for what is rightfully ours. We must tap into that spirit once again and reclaim our rightful place in the world. We do not need to beg for aid or remain dependent on those who seek to control us. We have the capacity to thrive on our own, to create a future where our people are not just surviving but flourishing. The resources of Burkina Faso and of Africa as a whole are among the richest in the world. We have the power to drive our own economies, to build our own industries, and to develop our own technologies. But for too long, foreign powers have stood in the way, using our resources to fuel their own growth, while our people continue to live in poverty. It is time to end this cycle. We will not allow our resources to be taken without fair compensation and without the benefits reaching the people who have lived here for generations. We will not allow foreign companies to exploit our land, pollute our environment, and leave us with nothing but the remnants of their greed. Our resources are for our people, not for those who seek to take them without consequence. In breaking the chains of colonialism and neocolonialism, we must also invest in ourselves. We must build our own institutions, develop our own industries, and create opportunities for our people. We have the skills, the knowledge, and the determination to succeed. We do not need to rely on others to shape our future. We have the ability to create our own path, one that reflects our values, our culture, and our ambitions. This will not happen overnight, but with unity, commitment, and a refusal to accept anything less than our rightful place in the world, we will begin to turn the tide. It is time for Africa to rise, for Burkina Faso to rise. It is time for us to break free from the shackles of history and to step into the future with confidence. We will not be controlled by those who seek to exploit us. We will not be dictated to by those who do not understand our struggles. The future belongs to us. Our sovereignty is non-negotiable, and we will defend it with everything we have. We are not asking for charity or for sympathy. We are demanding respect, dignity, and the freedom to control our own destiny. Burkina Faso will stand as a beacon for other African nations, showing that it is possible to break the chains of colonialism and neocolonialism. Together, we will create a future that is built on justice, equality, and true self-determination. For far too long, Africa has been fragmented. We have been divided not just by borders drawn by colonial powers, but by deep-seated divisions that have kept us from realizing the true potential of our continent. This fragmentation has allowed external forces to take advantage of our resources, our people, and our sovereignty. It has made us vulnerable to manipulation, exploitation, and interference. But we cannot afford to continue down this path. The challenges we face, be it terrorism, poverty, exploitation, or political instability, cannot be addressed by any single nation alone. We are stronger together, and it is time for us to unite in the face of these challenges, to stand shoulder to shoulder as one Africa. Pan-African solidarity is not just a dream, it is a necessity. It is the only path forward if we are to achieve true independence, security, and prosperity. Our collective strength lies in our unity. We have seen time and again that when we stand together, we are capable of achieving great things. Whether it was our struggle for independence from colonial rule or our fight against apartheid in South Africa, we have proven that unity is a powerful force for change. It is time to ignite that spirit of solidarity and work together toward a future where Africa is no longer a bystander in global affairs, but a leader in shaping the world's destiny. The external challenges we face are not just military or economic, they are political and ideological. Foreign powers have long tried to maintain control over our continent, using their economic might, their influence in international institutions, and their military presence to impose their will on us. They seek to divide us, to keep us weak, and to prevent us from realizing our full potential. The resources of Africa have been plundered for centuries, and foreign powers continue to exploit them with little regard for the well-being of our people. We are rich in resources, but we have remained poor because we have been divided. When we are divided, we cannot protect our interests, we cannot speak with one voice, and we cannot defend our sovereignty. But the internal challenges we face are just as pressing. Political instability, corruption, economic inequality, and social divisions continue to plague many African nations. These challenges are often exacerbated by external interference, but they are also the result of internal factors that we must address ourselves. If we are to achieve true unity, we must first confront these issues head-on. We must build strong, transparent institutions that serve the needs of the people, not the interests of the powerful few. We must ensure that our economies are equitable and inclusive, providing opportunities for all, not just a select group. We must work to heal the divisions that have kept us from coming together as one people, one continent. Unity is not just about political or economic cooperation. It is about building a shared vision for the future. We must recognize that the struggles of one African nation are the struggles of all. When one of us suffers, we all suffer. When one of us is oppressed, we are all oppressed. Our fate is interconnected, and we must support each other in the fight for justice, for prosperity, and for the respect that we deserve on the global stage. We must speak with one voice in international forums, demanding a fairer, more just world order. We must work together to build an Africa that is free from the yoke of exploitation, that is strong in its independence, and that is respected by the world. But unity is not something that can be achieved overnight. It will require hard work, sacrifice, and commitment. We must overcome the political and economic barriers that divide us, and we must build trust among our people and our leaders. It is not enough to simply talk about unity, we must act on it. We must create mechanisms for cooperation and collaboration, both at the governmental level and at the grassroots level. We must foster a culture of mutual respect, understanding, and support, recognizing that our differences are not weaknesses, but strengths. Our diversity, our rich cultures, our varied histories, these are the things that make us unique, and it is through embracing these differences that we will truly strengthen our unity. In the fight for unity, we must also recognize the role of the youth. The future of Africa lies in the hands of the next generation, and it is they who will carry the mantle of Pan-Africanism forward. We must empower our young people, give them the tools they need to succeed, and encourage them to be active participants in shaping the future of our continent. We must create opportunities for them to lead, to innovate, and to contribute to the growth and development of Africa. The youth are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are the leaders of today, and their energy, creativity, and vision will be key to our success. The fight for unity also means confronting the forces that seek to divide us. We must reject the divide and conquer tactics that have been used against us for centuries. We must resist the temptation to view each other as competitors rather than partners. We must put aside our differences and work toward a common goal. This is not about creating a homogeneous Africa, but rather a united Africa that respects and celebrates its diversity. It is about coming together to build a future that is just, prosperous, and free from the external forces that have sought to control us. We must also recognize that unity does not mean sacrificing our sovereignty or independence. Africa must remain in control of its own destiny. Our unity must be based on mutual respect, on the understanding that each nation is sovereign and must be free to make its own decisions. But this does not mean that we cannot work together for the common good. We must build strong regional organizations, such as the African Union, that can serve as platforms for cooperation and collaboration, where we can address the issues that affect us all and find solutions that benefit the continent as a whole. The time for talk is over. The time for action is now. If we are to overcome the external and internal challenges we face, we must unite as one. We must stand together, supporting each other in the fight for justice, prosperity, and respect. We must forge a future where Africa is not a passive observer, but an active participant in shaping the world's future. We must build an Africa that is strong, independent, and united, a continent that stands tall on the global stage, proud of its heritage, and determined to shape its own destiny. Unity among African nations is not just a dream, it is a necessity. The challenges we face are great, but they are not insurmountable. Together we can overcome them. Together we can build a future where Africa is free from the shackles of exploitation and oppression, a future where our people can thrive in peace, dignity, and prosperity. Now is the time to unite, to stand as one, and to show the world the true strength of Africa. Leadership is a sacred trust, a responsibility that cannot be taken lightly. It is not about power, prestige, or personal gain. It is about serving the people, protecting their interests, and making decisions that are in their best interest, even when those decisions are difficult, unpopular, or come at a personal cost. I understand the weight of this responsibility fully. As the leader of Burkina Faso, I take full accountability for every decision I make, knowing that each one has a direct impact on the lives of the people who have placed their trust in me. The decisions we make as leaders should never be guided by political convenience or the desire to seek approval from external powers. The true measure of leadership is the ability to make decisions based on what is best for the nation and its people, even when those decisions may not be easy or immediately popular. Politics in its true sense is not about appeasing others or chasing approval. It is about serving the public, making sacrifices, and being ready to make hard choices for the greater good of the country. I know that many of my actions, from military interventions to security policies, have been met with criticism, both within and outside of Burkina Faso, but I make no apologies for standing firm in the face of threats to our sovereignty, our people, and our future. The challenges we face are not of our own making, but we have to deal with them, and in doing so, I will always answer to the people of this nation, not to foreign powers or to transient political consideration. It is essential to recognize that the people are the ultimate arbiters of any leader's actions. As a leader, I am not above the law, and I am not above the people. I am a servant of the people, chosen to represent them and to make decisions that reflect their will, their needs, and their aspirations. The people of Burkina Faso must have the power to hold their leaders accountable, to challenge decisions, and to demand change when necessary. Accountability is the bedrock of a functional democracy, and it is the cornerstone of good governance. It is not enough to simply make promises during an election campaign or to put forward nice-sounding policies. We must follow through with actions, and when we fail, we must acknowledge our shortcomings and make amends. To be truly accountable, a leader must be transparent. It is not enough to make decisions behind closed doors or in secret. The people have a right to know the reasoning behind the decisions that affect their lives. Whether it is about military interventions, economic policies, or social reforms, the people must be informed and engaged in the process. Leadership is not about dictating decisions from the top. It is about fostering dialogue, building trust, and being open to criticism. This is why I believe in transparency in all aspects of governance, particularly when it comes to matters of national security, economic reforms, and foreign relations. The people must understand why decisions are made, how they are made, and who benefits from them. But accountability is a two-way street. While leaders must be held accountable to the people must also understand their role in holding their leaders to account. The responsibility does not rest solely on the shoulders of those in power. The people must stay engaged, informed, and active in the democratic process. It is not enough to simply vote in elections. The people must hold their leaders accountable between elections too. Civil society, the media, and the institutions of democracy must all play their part in scrutinizing the actions of the government and ensuring that the leaders remain faithful to their promises. We cannot allow complacency or apathy to undermine the democratic process. It is the duty of every citizen to stay informed, to ask tough questions, and to demand answers. We also must acknowledge the role of institutions in holding leaders accountable. A strong, independent judiciary, a free press, and vibrant civil society organizations are critical to ensuring that power is never abused. These institutions provide checks and balances that prevent any leader or government from becoming too powerful or unaccountable. They also provide avenues for the people to voice their concerns, seek justice, and demand reform. A healthy democracy relies on strong institutions that can function independently without fear or favor. Without these institutions, there is no accountability, and without accountability, there is no true democracy. However, accountability is not just about answering for mistakes or failures. It is also about taking responsibility for successes and making sure that the benefits of those successes are shared by all. As a leader, I will not shy away from taking credit when things go right, but I will also be the first to admit when we fall short. In the face of adversity, I will always be the first to step forward and take responsibility for the decisions made. But with that responsibility comes the obligation to correct course, to improve, and to make the necessary changes to ensure that the nation's interests are always placed first. As a leader, I am committed to making sure that the government of Burkina Faso operates in the interests of the people and not for the benefit of a select few. We must dismantle the systems of corruption, patronage, and privilege that have held us back for so long. We must ensure that the government is not a tool for the enrichment of a few powerful elites, but a mechanism for serving the many, for addressing the needs of the ordinary people who are the backbone of this nation. Corruption in all its forms must be fought relentlessly, and those who abuse the power entrusted to them must be held accountable. I will work tirelessly to root out corruption and ensure that every Burkinabe citizen has an equal opportunity to succeed. But we must also recognize that accountability means ensuring the voices of the people are heard and respected. A leader who does not listen to the people is not a true leader. I am committed to creating a political environment in Burkina Faso where dialogue is encouraged, where the people can voice their concerns, and where their opinions are taken seriously. This is not just about making decisions on behalf of the people, but making decisions with the people. The policies we put in place must reflect the needs and desires of the people, not the whims of a few powerful elites or foreign interests. We must also ensure that every citizen, regardless of their social status or background, has access to justice. In a society where some people are above the law, accountability becomes meaningless. We must create a legal and social system where justice is blind, where all people are treated equally, and where corruption or favoritism cannot undermine the rule of law. This is essential for building trust in the system and for ensuring that the people remain engaged in the democratic process. In the end, leadership is about service, not power. It is about taking responsibility for the well-being of the people and putting their needs above our own ambitions. It is about being accountable, transparent, and responsive to the needs of the nation. As the leader of Burkina Faso, I will never shy away from this responsibility. I will always prioritize the interests of the people over any personal or political considerations, and I will hold myself accountable to the people every single day. This is my promise, and I will live up to it with every action, every decision, and every step I take in service to the people of Burkina Faso.